So I've got a top-level view here, and these are representing various digital experiences that I wish to monitor. And I'm going to use Canada as an example here, where I've got a number of users working at a Canadian offices or homes. And I get, at this top level, I get a top-level state perspective, right? How is this group of users or individuals performing? And then I can see within that, if there are problems, in this case, I do see there are problems with some of my Canadian users. Are they end user facing at the moment? Are they just application components that might eventually become end user facing problems? Or is there something going on with my infrastructure? And we talked earlier about VPN and other things that might be influencing this. So if I drill in, let's take another look at another layer down here and look at the details behind these buckets of end user, application, and infrastructure. So first and foremost, let's go into application first. I mentioned the synthetic transaction monitoring, and that's what I'm getting here with these Van Gizmo. These are my Gizmo robots, those synthetic transaction monitoring pieces that are emulating users, and I can see that they're reporting some problems. I'm also able to correlate this with what Microsoft is publishing from their portal. So these are all the applications that Microsoft publishes health for. So I can see I am getting some. I've got a red alert on Exchange, and I've got a few Gizmo robots that are reporting some errors. I have all the details of all the alerts here describing to me what's actually going on, what aspects aren't able to be functioning. Where I see here where I've got some email and calendar access problems. I can then jump back up and look at the infrastructure. I see that it's green, but just to complete the picture, on the infrastructure side, I've got visibility into how well are my ISPs performing for my users in Canada. So I've got a couple of ISPs in Canada here that are modeled. I have my Cisco infrastructure. So if I drill into my Cisco pieces, I can see how well that's being managed. Right down to, is it a VPN issue? What's the system health of these integrated routers? That sort of thing. Drill back up again. We mentioned the VPN scenarios. I've got some FortiGate devices here being managed. So all of this kind of gives me the perspective of, where is the problem as I'm navigating through this data. And then I glossed over the end user piece, but I can actually see here I've got some users in our Canadian offices, and they're not having any issues. So this helps me understand, how quickly should I be triaging this issue based on what's happening. And I can even get into just to highlight some of the information that I have here. There's lots I can show, but we only have so much time to show you so much here. But I can get some detailed about, for my experiences, where am I making calls? What devices am I using? I can drill into very specific uses of my device and which network I'm on. Where am I making those calls? What is my IP address? What device am I on? What headset am I using? A complete log of the calls that I'm making, both well-performing calls and poor-performing calls based on MOS score. So there's quite a bit of detail I can get here and understand that if I were complaining to IT, they would have this view where they might be able to see that, one of my configurations, a configuration being a pairing of a device and a network, might be the problem. So they might be able to tell me, well, Rob, when you have your MacBook in the office, everything is fine. But when you take your MacBook home and you have a Teams call, that seems to be where the bulk of your problems are. So it's something with the the network at home, or maybe you're using a different headset at home. A lot of information to be able to troubleshoot what's going on. To tie it all back together, all of this data, and again, even though the demo I'm showing you now isn't necessarily calling out XLA language yet, it is providing the building blocks for an end-to-end SLA. This SLA here is capturing not just what Microsoft publishes, but also the pieces that I just showed you, right? The VPN health, the network devices that might be in the office where I am at the moment, that might be impacting my ability to get to the internet and to the Teams data center. I have visibility into the ISP, and I have visibility in terms of what Microsoft is publishing from the tenant perspective. So I got a nice end-to-end view, and all of those pieces roll into this SLA, where I can then report on a real, true end-to-end, what is the user experiencing? And then the last thing I'll just call out here is on the bottom here, we don't just say if the SLA was poor, better luck next time. There's also information here that helps you understand, why this might be a problem, right? Like you saw as I was browsing through the application pieces that we saw Exchange Online problems, some Gizmo robots were reporting some problems. We've got some Cisco infrastructure that was reporting some problems. So when I get to the end of March and I'm looking forward to April and aiming to deliver a better experience to my users so they can be more productive, I have a list here of things to focus on. I know that I've got to focus on maybe some things in my Cisco infrastructure that need some tuning or tweaking that will make sure that I'm delivering a more reliable service in the future.